Alright, this right here, this portfolio, is the 4-page comic submission that started my career. I haven't pulled these out of here for probably 20 years now. Alright, so this is the first page. As you can see, it's pretty detailed. It was for Wildcats. This was when Wildcats and Image Comics were at their peak. I forget what the date on it was. Let me see if I can find a date. So I could, you can see how detailed it is compared to my size of my hand. I don't remember the names of the characters. He looks alright. I was heavily referencing the characters, in all this. Look at this old equipment. Old printers and discs, comics and other junk. An old laptop. I loved doing clothes, folds of clothes and leather and stitches, and to me that was just the funnest thing, to try to make it look like a certain kind of fabric. And I think I was pretty successful at it. So this is the opening page, again for Wildcats. Second page is this. And it took me about 2 weeks to do this. So I remember putting all the work into the characters. I mean, look at her shirt, her leather top. I'm really impressed with that still. So all this detail in the background, I added it in at the very end, and I just was like, I must have more detail than anyone. So she sits on his desk, and he's not very impressed. You can tell by his face. I'm not very impressed with that face. Anyway, and she knocks over his drink, thermos, and this girl's like, whatever, stupid woman. But look at all that detail behind her. It's just like random stuff. So cool. Anyway, I like how this stuff turned out too. I was really studying the way Jim Lee did it, and one of my other favorite artists of mine. And then she's all trying to clean it up, and it's just a mess. Not very clean, and he closes his laptop. So annoyed with her. So annoying. And he drops his cigar. And then this girl hears something. What is it? I don't know. There's a lot of junk behind me. I really like that junk. Anyway, so she looks back. Dun dun dun! It's this guy. And I loved the way these creatures turned out. I loved how Jim Lee drew them, and other comic artists in the 90s drew them. Just all the detail, and how the blacks, go into solid black, but it still retains all that detail because it's just highlighted in certain spots. And then, there's all the detail behind them. And then her legs in the foreground. I love the cloth on her legs and just everything about it. It's so good. And then she does a spin. She spins around and kicks him. That's right. She kicks him. I like the way it all turned out. Her face looks great. The muscles, the anatomy looks pretty good. This hand is crazy, but I still like it. The hand's good. And then, of course, all this, the darks mixed with the details here. Same with this. This was just all supposed to be shaded in completely black. And then the details start coming out of the blackness. Anyway, I really like how this page turned out. And then the final page, she spins around and slices him with her sword, katana, whatever it is. That's really cool. I like that pose. I like all the detail in there. Look at those back muscles. And then She throws, okay, she grabs this blade on her back and she throws it at him. And it sticks right into his head. Love that detail. I think she turned out really good too. And then she looks at him like, what a loser. Her eye looks like it's a little high there. Regardless, she still has that expression. What a loser. Even more. Real loser. And then, I think it's a good looking face, but I was totally like just imitating Jim Lee. And then they're all looking at her like, wow. She's like going, I was such a klutz, and this girl just comes over and beats up these bad guys while I'm being klutzy. And he's like, yep, she's awesome. He's like, yeah, I wish she was like her. Anyway, and that's end. It's the end. So, that is what my best piece of comic submission artwork looked like. And I'm still really proud of it. So there you go. 2 weeks of work I spent working on this after hours and after I'd get off work when I was probably 19 years old, and I submitted this to about 30 different publishers as well as editors and other artists, and I showed it to everyone I could at conventions. I went to San Diego with this, and I remember I got 8 different job offers from different companies. Some of them were like small companies like No Mercy Comics by Ricky Rocket, the drummer of Poison. He had a company, and he hired me. He wanted to hire me on the spot to do a wrestling comic. I didn't want to do a wrestling comic, so I pitched him another comic, and he said he would do it. But then I ended up getting hired doing storyboards because of this same work too. So I was showing this to a DC editor, and he was so impressed with it that he gave me his card. And then once I got out of the line, an agent was overlooking his shoulder, and he pulled me aside and he said, hey, this guy doesn't give his card to very many people, and everybody he gives a card to, I pull him aside and see if they'd be interested in doing storyboards for a living. And so he showed me his portfolio and who he represented, and I was blown away with the quality of who he represented as well as the money that they were offering to pay me. And so that was another one of the 8 job offers I got because of these submissions. And if anyone knows my story, you know that I moved into Hollywood, got a job in storyboards, just had a career ever since, and it's just been continuing to go. I was in Hollywood for about 20 years, and then I moved back to Idaho about 4 years ago, and I've been pursuing my own comics now. And I'm doing things like this, like the Sithra books, which actually I have a campaign for Sithra 5 and 6 right now going on Indiegogo right now. The whole story is a 1,000-page story. Check it out. This was a combination of everything I learned up until that point. I did about 400 pages of comics before I ever got paid for it. This was my last really serious submission that I did, and then I started getting jobs after that. So this submission changed my career. This launched my career, this submission. That's what I showed him. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya. Hello, my name is Jason Brubaker, and I want to welcome you to the world of Sithra. I've been working on Sithra for about 5 years now. It's 6 books long, and it's finally complete. Sithra was heavily inspired by Miyazaki's storytelling. It's the story of a little girl and a troubled teenager who journey into the spirit world to try to find lost loved ones and deal with past demons. It is very close to my heart. It is about the leap of faith to do something that is impossible. And now, the final 2 books in the Sithra series are done. They'll be printed as a beautiful hardcover with cloth binding, and there's even a box set edition of the entire series.
I've gotten some printing quotes, and it looks like we're going to be spending about $12,000 for book 5 and $16,000 for book 6. Now this doesn't count the slipcases, which are another $3,800. $10,000 is a very low shipping estimate, and then there's all the fees and taxes that come along with this kind of thing. This Indiegogo campaign will be the biggest sale I've ever had, with all my previous books at 50% off. You can get this whole 1,000-page story for just $99. Of course, you can always get the collector's edition with signed and numbered book plates. And you can even get your name printed in the book and a picture of you drawn in the book as well. For the super collectors, I only have about 450 box sets left, so grab one while you can. Now, because there's only so many copies of the previous books of Cithra still in print, if we sell out in this campaign, we sell out. Every single one of these books is first printing. This might be the only way you can get a complete set of Cithra. Like all the other campaigns of mine, we have an art contest going. So please submit your art while the campaign is going. The rules are in the campaign description. I would love to have some of your art in the back of Cithra 5 or 6. Now, I'm not new to this self-publishing thing. I love it. I've been doing it for years now. The only reason I've been able to make these books is because you guys have been supporting me every single campaign, and I really want to thank you for that. Thanks for joining me on this quest to complete the biggest project I've ever undertaken, and now I'm proud to present the complete Cithra.